not quite, but also I kind of figured it was going to be like that, honestly. You know, I heard Canelo say in the interview, like, I don't really like fighting guys who move around that much like that, and William Skull being a Cuban fighter, like, I knew he was going to do that. And so was curious to see, you know, how Canelo.
They announced it on Saturday after the whole Canelo fight, and I don't understand. This is a big fight. I don't know. I'm a boxing fan. I'm a UFC boxing fan. I'm a fan. But this fight, I ain't gonna lie, it might cause a little race war between blacks and Mexicans because, you know, Canelo's fans is kind of crazy. But
Terence Crawford recently delivered a sharp warning to Canelo Alvarez during a live stream. Looking directly into the camera, Crawford said, "In September, I'm going to show the world what greatness looks like." This wasn't a vague statement, it was direct and aimed at one man. Crawford wasn't speaking in hypotheticals, he made it crystal clear that the fight in September isn't just an option, it's his next goal. And he's not stepping in the ring just to test himself. He's coming to win.
I'm going with Terence Crawford, you know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat him.
Over the past few months, Crawford's tone has shifted from playful to serious. It started earlier this year when he tweeted, "Remember what you said about me." That tweet came after years of Canelo dismissing the idea of fighting him, claiming Crawford was too small. At the time, Crawford didn't respond with a long rebuttal, he simply planted a seed. Now, that seed has grown. It's personal. This recent live stream marked a turning point, showing that Crawford is ready to turn talk into action.
Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles.
Crawford's confidence isn't built on hope, it's based on his track record. Recently, he threw another subtle jab online, writing, "Now don't make daddy take his belt off, son. You've been a good boy lately. Don't make papa mad now." It may sound light-hearted on the surface, but the message underneath was loud and clear. Crawford sees himself as the man in control. He views Canelo's recent performances as weak. In Crawford's eyes, today's Canelo isn't the same beast from 4 or 5 years ago. And in the upcoming fight, Crawford believes he'll expose that decline.
Crawford and his fans would have never in their life allowed Crawford to fight 36 rounds with Canelo. I know Crawford and his fans will never in their life ask him to fight David Benavidez. I know Crawford and his fans will never in their life ask to fight Dimitri Bivol. We're talking like, about, I'm not done, my friend, because you're like on, that weed is real. I need some of that weed because, you know.
Oscar de la Hoya, who knows both fighters well, recently shared his thoughts on the potential matchup scheduled for September 13th. Crawford is very, you know, he's not one-dimensional. He can move, he can box. I don't know how hard he hits, if it's enough to keep Canelo off him, but I think it's going to be very interesting. De La Hoya said his hesitation wasn't about Crawford's skill, it was about power. That's the central question heading into this fight. Can Crawford make Canelo respect his punches?
I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse? The reality is Canelo does put people out. From Kirkland to Amir Khan to just...
Obviously, I'm just saying, man.
No, but he's not. Kovalev.
Kovalev was older.
Oscar de la Hoya admitted he's excited for the upcoming fight, even though he's unsure how it will end. The matchup generates genuine curiosity. Crawford has turned many skeptics into believers, but facing a man who's been competing at super middleweight for years is a different kind of challenge. He's not just going up against a bigger name. Is facing a naturally bigger opponent. Manny Pacquiao, a legend who knows the risks of jumping weight classes better than most, shared his advice for Crawford in a recent conversation. When asked what he'd tell the Omaha native, Pacquiao responded plainly, "My advice is that he should focus on speed. That's the problem when you move up in weight. Your speed and power can go. He needs to focus on that.
Spaceman Films. What up, Biz? Who you got? Canelo Crawford.
Yeah, got Canelo. I heard the punches that he hit Charlo with. I don't know if Crawford can absorb those punches. I know he's a great man and a great warrior. But you come from 147 to put on a better fight than Charlo. I mean, I don't even know what that means. I don't know if that means that Crawford is so great and he can do that, or that means that Charlo set the bar so damn low that anybody could do better than Charlo did last night.
Do skill really pay the bill? Because that would be tested.
Pay the bill. That's why Canelo's skillful too.
Crawford's key to victory isn't going to be power or size, it's going to be skill. He must win by being faster, sharper, and more alert. His style revolves around angles, timing, and control, not brute strength. But at 168 pounds, against a man who's been training with heavy hitters for years, Crawford's skill set will face its toughest test yet. Former WBA super middleweight champion George Groves, who knows the division inside and out, remains skeptical. I can't see how Canelo can't win, Groves said. He's had a lot of fights, but there doesn't seem to be too many miles on the clock.
Yeah, that's a nice division. You got a lot of tough fighters in that division. Yeah. Of course, Crawford came in there, and he got one match in, and now he's moving on to fight the big one, Canelo.
Yeah.
How do you see that fight, man?
And I mean, I got it even, to be honest. I mean, Canelo's got definitely more fight experience.
Groves noted that while Canelo might not be the biggest guy at super middleweight,
Groves further noted that while Canelo may not be the biggest guy at super middleweight, he has adapted perfectly to the weight. His body is now built for the demands of that division. On the other hand, Crawford only recently moved up to 154 and is now leaping again. To Groves, that's a red flag. I can't see him putting any physical dent in Canelo. Groves added, he's an amazing fighter. Crawford is clever, astute, and has nearly every shot in the book. His balance is tremendous. But I think this step might be a step too far. That sentiment is echoed by many in the boxing world. They admire Crawford's talent but believe this weight jump might be one bridge too far, not due to lack of skill, but because physics and weight classes exist for a reason.
I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
Yeah. You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's physically kind of big, but height-wise, yeah.
Still, not everyone shares that opinion. Sugar Ray Leonard, a 5-division world champion who understands the risk of moving up in weight, offered his thoughts during a May 22nd interview. When asked if the size gap was too much, Leonard acknowledged the danger, but didn't count Crawford out. I mean, that's true, Leonard said, but you know what? There's always a way. There's always a way to win. Leonard wasn't just trying to hype Crawford, he was speaking from experience. He's lived through what Crawford is about to face. His message? Sometimes, skill, discipline, and belief can overcome bulk and power. Crawford is hoping that still holds true.
What about Crawford do you think can bridge the weight gap? Or with you, what did bridge the weight gap? Because a lot of people are just saying, hey, Canelo's just too big for someone like Terence.
That's true, but you know what? There's always a way. Put it that there's always a way. There's always a way to win.
Bob Arum, the legendary promoter who knows both fighters' careers inside and out, took a different approach. He didn't question Crawford, he questioned Canelo. Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman, Arum said in a recent interview. He's not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check. Arum wasn't trying to be disrespectful, he was being honest. He's watched Canelo evolve from a ruthless, aggressive boxer into a more calculated, business-minded fighter. And in Arum's eyes, that transformation could backfire, especially against a fighter like Crawford, who still fights with urgency and hunger.
Let me tell you what I think should be gone. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jamel Charlo already proved that. Y'all remember that scene from Rocky? Remember that scene from Rocky 2? When Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed and his trainer was like, can I be honest?
If Canelo really fights, because I think it's safe to say that Terence always fights. He doesn't know anything else, then it could be a very interesting fight, said Bob Arum. For Arum, the real question isn't whether Crawford shows up ready, because he always does. The real question is, which version of Canelo shows up? Will it be the veteran who plays it safe, or the young warrior who used to trade hard shots without blinking? Arum concluded by voicing what many fans are thinking: who's Canelo now? What version of Canelo is going to show up? The one looking to cash a big check, or the one who really wants to fight like a fighter? The Canelo we've seen in the past 2 years, Arum added, has not only been boring but also seems to lack the incentive to truly engage and entertain fans with a great fight.
Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman. He's not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check. But again, if Canelo really fights, because I think it's safe to say Terence always fights. He doesn't know anything else. So then it could be a very good, interesting fight.
That question looms large over this fight. It's not just about fighting styles, it's about motivation. Crawford is hungry. He's coming in with something to prove. To him, this isn't just another bout, it's a legacy-defining moment. Canelo, despite his many accomplishments, hasn't shown the same fire lately. If that trend continues, Crawford might find the opening he needs. Make no mistake, this fight isn't a money grab for Crawford. The warning he delivered during a live stream just days ago wasn't for show. It was a statement of intent. He's been climbing weight classes for years. He cleaned out 140, he dominated 147, he stepped up to 154 without hesitation. Now he's skipping 160 entirely to face the top man at 168.
Like once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo, he's going to slow down. So I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But, there's so many components that make a champion.
Trainer Stephen "Breadman" Edwards didn't just support Crawford. He explained why what seems impossible might actually be achievable. His reasoning was simple: anybody can be hurt, even someone with a granite chin like Canelo Alvarez. Edwards wasn't speaking in theory. He was talking from experience, as someone who's trained and observed legends. Some of the best chins I've ever seen have been clipped, he said, mentioning names like Holyfield and Duran. Anybody can be clipped, man. That phrase isn't just about physical damage, it's about vulnerability. What Edwards sees is that no matter how good a fighter's chin is, there's always a window. And Crawford, he's the type of fighter who specializes in finding those windows.
Canelo, who you got?
Crawford, Canelo? I still say Canelo.
I got Canelo too.
I still say Canelo. Ring IQ, I believe that Crawford has a bit more.
Yep.
However, it's just the size difference. I think that where Crawford is lacking is that he should test the waters even with somebody at that weight class before facing Canelo. But hey, they say he's a dog. He's got shot in the head and drove to the hospital, so maybe that's just...
Crawford isn't known for raw knockout power. He's known for timing, precision, and rhythm-breaking traps. He doesn't chase knockouts, he sets them up. He leads opponents into punches they never see coming. And even the most durable fighters can get hurt when a punch lands perfectly. Consider this: Crawford hasn't fought since August 2024. That's a 13-month layoff. For most fighters, that's a red flag. Ring rust is real, but Edwards isn't concerned. He's one of those guys who never looks rusty, he said. It applies to a lot of fighters, but Crawford defies that logic. The fight world saw the biggest hype in boxing history with Mayweather versus Pacquiao, but Richard Schaefer sees something potentially even more special in this matchup.
I always think that Canelo have a good performance, but the last one are not good. Don't look good. His opponent and him don't make an entertaining fight. So
It's going to be the biggest fight in the sport for as long as I can remember, Schaefer told The Ring. For him, it's not just about numbers, it's about timing. Unlike Mayweather versus Pacquiao, which happened years past its prime, Schaefer believes that Canelo and Crawford are meeting at the right time. I think this could be just as big financially, if not bigger, he said. What makes it different? This doesn't feel like a cash-out fight. It doesn't feel like a legacy fight built on past glory. This fight is about supremacy right now. Even though Crawford is moving up 2 full weight classes, Schaefer doesn't shy away from the danger. In fact, he leans into it.
Who you like in this fight?
Canelo.
Why? Because Bud had to move up 3 classes?
Yes. And in the history of boxing, I've never seen anybody move up 2 classes and be successful.
Well, Roy did.
I mean, but not in one jump, not in one leap.
Right, you're right.
It was here, right. Light, heavyweight, fight a few fights, right. Okay, heavyweight. Mm-hmm. We talking about he just fought 147 one fight ago.
Right.
And then you gonna fight at 168?
Yeah. Did he?
Schaefer doesn't dismiss Crawford's power, but he stays realistic about the challenge. Canelo has the best chin in boxing. No question about it, he said. He's never been dropped. Never been hurt. It's going to be very challenging for Crawford to really hurt Canelo. That said, Schaefer still doesn't rule Crawford out. He reflected on Crawford's last outing against Madrimov, a fight where some believed the underdog made it closer than expected. Canelo is no Madrimov, Schaefer said. It wasn't an insult to Crawford, it was a reminder of the level he's stepping into. Madrimov is slick, tough, and awkward. But Canelo brings the full package: composuring IQ, tight defense, a relentless body attack that breaks fighters down over time.
Ooh-wee. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is about to be a real thing for September. I'm gonna need us to really talk about this. If you got Canelo winning this fight, I need to know why you think Canelo winning this fight. If you got Bud winning this fight, I need to know why you got Bud winning this fight. It's a 50-50 for me right now. This fight looks like it's about to go down in September. So I want to hear from y'all. Let's talk boxing.
Still, Richard Schaefer keeps circling back to one thing: the moment the bell rings and the world locks in. He's promoted some of the sport's biggest nights, including Mayweather versus Canelo. Yet he calls this upcoming fight substantially bigger. But while that spectacle builds, another voice is getting louder and angrier: David Benavidez, the undefeated 2-time WBC super middleweight champion. Long considered Canelo's most dangerous rival, Benavidez is now watching someone else, Terence Crawford, step into the spotlight he's chased for years. And he's not taking it quietly. Canelo recently dismissed Benavidez, calling him a nobody. He mocked the hype around El Bandera Roja, saying he hadn't accomplished anything of note. By the way he talks, he thinks he's Superman, Canelo said. The statement stung, and Benavidez hasn't let it go.
You know, Canelo's a stronger guy, the bigger guy, but in the fight with a guy that moves around, and if Crawford uses his skills and his legs and his technique and just his ability, I think he can win. He can win the fight in decision, as long as he doesn't get hit with those big shots from Canelo.
On the 4 Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, Benavidez fired back: "If I'm such a bad fighter that he could come and beat me and I'm nothing, then why don't you come shut me up? Earn people's respect. Earn a good paycheck. What's the problem?" That's not just frustration, it's fury. Benavidez knows the stakes. His name has been tied to Canelo's for years, always seen as the guy waiting outside while others got in, and now, Crawford, a former lightweight, has leaped the line. "If Canelo fights me today, it would probably be the biggest fight of his career," Benavidez added. That would be the biggest payday he would earn in his career. He's not just campaigning, he's making a case, a financial case, a legacy case, and yet, is still being ignored.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford.
He's younger, taller, longer, and mean. He throws punches in bunches, fights with aggression, and doesn't just want to box Canelo, he wants to take something from him. Benavidez doesn't sell a polite narrative of greatness versus greatness. He sells the possibility of a dethroning, a real one. And maybe that's the point. Canelo's team knows this. They know Benavidez is still ascending, they know he brings a pressure style that could wear down even someone with a granite chin like Canelo, and they also know something else: the money for Crawford is just as good, maybe even better, without the same level of risk. So for now, Benavidez has been erased from the conversation, not by the sanctioning bodies, but by the man at the top. But here's the question that remains: do you really think Crawford can do this?